Bertie.
Money! It's time for the show!
Belfast North. Belfast North. Belfast North talks music. So it does.
Here we go.
It really does.
Belfast North. Belfast North.
Are you
Belfast North. Talks music.
Well done.
Hello, welcome to Belfast North Talks Music. This is Paul Keane here. We have a great mix today from classic rock and roll to powerful classical pieces. So let's not hang about.
Belfast North.
Johnny.
Belfast North. Belfast North. Talks music.
Johnny, you're getting Johnny. No.
I hope you're doing the very best. What makes a classic rock and roll song? Well, I'll be chatting to Bernard Jackson later on to sort that one out. We'll also be listening to classical pieces which made the jump into the mainstream via TV ads. What does it take to make a good marriage between a product and music? We'll find out a little more about the role of the music supervisor on that too.
Here, where did that catchphrase come from?
Where did that catchphrase come from?
Where did that catchphrase come from?
We don't know.
But here's our weekly catchphrase. So the catchphrase for today is,
You stupid boy.
and let's hear that again.
You stupid boy.
As always, stay with us to the end of the show and we'll let you know who said that famous catchphrase. The first piece we have today was taken from a Fiat TV ad called Hand Built by Robots. It was on our screens in 1978. But what music does an Italian car maker use to describe the future of car making? Well, through the work of a music supervisor, that's someone who sources music for film, radio, new media, or TV, it goes back to its past. It chooses Rossini's Barber of Seville to show off Italian style, charm, flair, and of course, humour. Its first outing took up the whole advertising slot on ITV's News at 10 break, and I remember all the chat the next day about it. What it did was elevate a car to all the aesthetics of classic Italian opera, and it worked beautifully.
Larga fatotum della città largo. La 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 la. Presto bottega che l'alveggia presto. La 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 la. Ah, che bel vivere, che bel piacere, che bel piacere. Per un barbiere di qualità, di qualità. Oh, bravo Figaro, bravo, bravissimo, bravo. La 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 la. Fortunatissimo per verità, bravo. La 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 la. Fortunatissimo per verità, fortunatissimo per verità. La 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 la. Pronto per tutto, la notte e il giorno, sempre d'intorno, in giro sta. Miglior cuccagna per un barbiere, vita più nobile non si dà. La 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 la. Rasori e pettini, lancette e forbici al mio comando, tutto qui sta. Lancette e forbici, rasori e pettini al mio comando, tutto qui sta. Ve la risorsa, poi del mestiere, con la donnetta col cavaliere, con la donnetta trallallallero, col cavaliere trallallalla, lo, che bel vivere, che bel piacere, che bel piacere. Per un barbiere di qualità, di qualità. Tutti mi chiedono, tutti mi vogliono, donne e ragazzi, vecchie fanciulle, quella parrucca, presto la barba, quella sanguigna, presto il biglietto, tutti mi chiedono, tutti mi vogliono, tutti mi chiedono, tutti mi vogliono, quella parrucca, presto la barba, presto il biglietto, ehi, Figaro! Figaro, 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 Figaro. Ahimè, ahimè, che furia, ahimè, che foglia, uno alla volta, per carità, per carità, per carità, uno alla volta, uno alla volta, uno alla volta, per carità. Figaro, son qua, ehi, Figaro! Son qua, Figaro là, Figaro qua, Figaro là, Figaro su, Figaro giù, Figaro su, Figaro giù. Pronto, prontissimo, sopra il fulmine, sono il factotum della città, della città, della città, della città, della città. Ah, bravo Figaro, bravo, bravissimo, ah, bravo Figaro, bravo, bravissimo, a te fortuna, a te fortuna, a te fortuna, non mancherà. La 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 la. A te fortuna, a te fortuna, a te fortuna, non mancherà. Sono il factotum della città, sono il factotum della città, della città, della città, della città.
Now it's time for our regular health slot. Make the most of your doctor. It's a good idea to get some routine tests done at the doctor's to check your blood pressure and cholesterol levels. High readings increase your risk factor for stroke and heart disease, but any problems are completely reversible with medication. Whilst you're there, why not ask your doctor about the seasonal flu jab? It's free once you reach 65, or if you have a health condition that puts you at risk of more serious problems if you caught the flu. It's time for our first classic rock and roll track. This song featured in the movie Blackboard Jungle, and its popularity grew as patrons of the film heard that incredible slap bass and punchy rim shots of the snare through those huge cinema speakers. We'll chat more about it later, but from 1954, here's Rock Around the Clock, originally by Bill Haley and the Comets, but covered by OTH Music Collective.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Put your glad rags on. Join me on, we're gonna have some fun. When the clock strikes 1, we're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock to broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. When the clock strikes 2, 3, and 4, and the band slows down, we'll dance for more. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till the broad daylight. We're gonna rock around clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock, around the clock tonight. Here we go now. Ba 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 clock tonight, we're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight.
Well, we're going to now slow things right down for this next piece. The Symphony Number 9 in E minor, better known as the New World Symphony, was composed by Antonin Dvorak in 1893 while he was the director of the National Conservatory of Music of America from 1892 to 1895. It premiered in New York City on the 16th of December 1893. It has been described as one of the most popular of all the symphonies, but few know that Neil Armstrong took it with him for the Apollo 11 mission of the first moon landing in 1969. We might know it better for other reasons. The virtually unknown director Ridley Scott made two directorial choices for his now famous 1973 Hovis ad. Firstly, he would use this piece of music, but he would have it covered by a brass band. As in the previous ad, this music brings something special to a simple loaf of bread. In music, narrative, and visuals, it achieves an everyone culture. It conjures up an existential journey from a boy to a man to a new world. Not bad for a 45-second ad. and now featuring some of the people working alongside CLARE CIC. This piece was written by Amanda Ferguson. Bubbly octogenarian Eva feels lonely because the pandemic has been so disruptive to her usual way of living. Eva is a Derry girl who moved to Belfast in 1969. I come from Derry. To hell with Londonderry. We just said Derry. We came down here, my mother and all my brothers, in 1969. I'm the only one left in my family. I'm on my way. I will be next. Sometimes I'm sitting here and I think, I'm no good to anybody. See this old COVID thing, it's knocked everybody, hasn't it? The charismatic, talkative 88-year-old from the Mount Vernon area of the city says it is important for her to be honest and open about her experience as an older person during the pandemic. Access to her day centre was halted or limited during the different stages of COVID lockdowns, so main social outlets were not what they usually were. Like many people, Eva struggled to motivate herself to get out of her nightgown and dress in the clothes she had laid out for herself each day. I was always used to company. I'm just sitting here. Sometimes I lie on top of the bed. I know there is people worse off than me. Eva misses spending lots of time with her best friend Alice, who she described as one lovely wee woman. When we do get out to the day centre, she gets me into trouble. She puts her arm around me, but I don't care. I like hugging her. There are 4 of us at that big table shouting over, and I can't hear very well. She added, wee Alice is a different religion from me. She gave me rosary beads and I keep them in my bag. She told me they will keep me safe. She also gave me a medal and I have it on my coat. You see, when you go up there, he doesn't ask you what you are. We all believe in God. Eva has so much fun with Alice and others when she gets the chance. I remember I had a purple cardigan on and I said, Alice, did you know I'm in the Orange Order? It's not something you shout about. We were laughing. They wouldn't let the women march in my day. Now they do, and I can't do it. Looking back, Eva has many fond memories of fundraising for children's charities down the years. Aged 80, she did a skydive, and she also abseiled down the Europa Hotel. You don't stop doing things because you get old. You get old because you stop doing things, she said. Eva misses dancing at the Ulster Hall and being more sociable. She enjoys hearing from her son over the phone and is conscious that she doesn't want to be a millstone to anyone, but knows that it's not how her family view her. Communicating with her granddaughter who works away and seeing her grandson and his 3 children who live closer is bringing her great joy. They are my life, she said. I am not contented. I am lonely. I used to go out of the house once a week, but now I can't do that. I don't even know what day it is sometimes. I think everyone's the same. The kids are all growing up so much. They are beautiful. I look at them and I look at their photographs, and if I ever thought of doing anything, I just look at them and those thoughts go. Eva was happy to receive her COVID vaccines and is not worried if she gets ill with the virus. If I get it, I get it. I've got the injection. I'm not holy, but I believe in God, and if it's His will, well, I don't follow it on the TV and radio. I can't be annoyed. Because of her poor hearing, she does not follow TV very much, but enjoys reading magazines, doing word searches and crocheting blankets for others. Eva's confidence has been knocked in recent times by falls at her home, but she would dearly love to see her friend Lily or go to the supermarket to pick up her own shopping. If you didn't laugh, you would cry, she said. I think about the things I did, the laughing and the carrying on, and it was great, and now I can't do it. She added, you can't expect people to run after you all the time. I sit and I crochet blue, pink, lemon and white baby blankets, and I also do blankets for the old people for their legs. But sometimes I get down. I put the kettle on and sometimes I just can't be annoyed waiting for it to boil. In her earlier years, Eva was a barmaid. She worked in the Shankill for a while and for many years in the Crusader Social Club. I loved it, she said. Eva is a recovering alcoholic of 32 years. It was not because I was a barmaid. Nobody twisted my arm up my back. Eva says prior to this old COVID thing, she would have enjoyed going out for a meal with her family and buying them a drink. When I saw the prices of them, I says, it's well I'm not drinking. It doesn't annoy me not being able to drink. There was a time I couldn't pass the off license, but those days are long gone. It was all with the help of God. Eva doesn't go to church, but she has her own relationship with God and prays in the house. In the morning, I ask God to help me through, and when I go to bed, I thank Him for the day. Our second classic rock and roll song made famous by Elvis is Blue Suede Shoes. This is our version of that.
Well, it's 1 for the money, 2 for the show. 3 to red and I go jack over. Don't you step my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Well, you can knock me down, steal my car, drink my liquor from an old fruit jar, doing a thing that you wanna do. Honey, lay off of my shoes. Don't you step my blue suede shoes. Well, you can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Let's take a walk. Down, slap my face, slander my name all over the place. Do anything that you wanna do. Lay off of my shoes and don't you step my blue suede shoes. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Well, you knock me down, steal my car, drink my liquor from an old fruit jar. Doing a thing that you wanna do. Lay off of my shoes and don't you step my blue suede shoes. Well, you can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes. Well, it's blue suede shoes. Blue suede shoes. Blue suede shoes. Blue suede shoes. Well, you can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoes.
Hey, Bernard.
What's the story? What's the story? What's the story? What's the story?
Hey, Bernard.
What's the story? What's the story? What's the story?
Music artist.
Good to see you, Bernard. We have a different tack today from last time. It was very easy listening last time. We're going to go for a bit of rock and roll for these next ones. We've picked 3 seminal songs. The first one by a 42-year-old who, by that standard, was a little bit old. He had a very famous Kiss curl. He had a stonking band behind him that was Bill Haley and the Comets. And this first tune, Rock Around the Clock. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, of people of a particular vintage like me, this was my first rock and roll song. I heard it when it was reissued back in the 70s. And Rock Around the Clock is an immediate, just exciting song. And as you said, he was 42-year-old, but when you were a kid, you didn't think, you just thought, that's rock and roll. And he had one of those guitars, big bodied thing with F-holes in it. It was just glamour. And it was in a movie then, which we saw as teenagers, and we thought this was brilliant and rebellious. Blackboard Jungle, about, the youth of America and the disaffected youth. And of course, we thought we could be in with them, and we wanted to do things like slash up seats. You heard about that in certain cinemas in the 50s, they actually slashed the seats up, when it was being played. But again, it's a classic rock and roll song. You play it anywhere, people get up, bouncing about. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things happened. I was a bit lucky because I think the A-side originally was supposed to be 13 women and only one man in town. Terrible title for a song. Actually, the song is awful as well. But Bill Haley coaxed the publisher, who actually had rights on the previous song. He wanted to make money off the whole thing. But then also, the very fact this was played in cinemas, all those bass bins, so that double bass playing, the snares hitting the guitars, unbelievable. And as a guitar player, Danny Sidrone on guitar, $25 for that one take. And sadly, he died, I think, just less than a year after that. But another classic song, Blue Suede Shoes. Now, the artist who did this, made it famous, was, of course, Elvis Presley, but not the writer of the song. Is that correct?
Yeah, the writer was Carl Perkins, who has a great pedigree, lots of great rock and roll songs. George Harrison, the Beatles especially loved his style of playing. But it was Elvis, put his own particular mark on it. And again, it's another one of those ones you hear as a kid. You don't really know exactly what it means, Blue Suede Shoes, what's that all about? But again, the beat, the drive, Elvis's vocal, superb.
Yeah, and of course, in the same stable as Elvis, Sam Phillips in the Sun record in Memphis record label. And it was saying something about fashion as well, because Elvis was a pretty snazzy dresser. And, you know, when you were telling someone, you can do anything you want, but stay off of my blue suede shoes, it was a bit of a statement in its own right, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Well, like, there must have been some pair of shoes, but yeah, there's a lot in that song. I mean, there's a wonderful line about drinking your liquor from an old fruit jar. You can do anything, this guy, but just don't touch the shoes, because the shoes mean a lot to him.
Yeah, and that liquor from an old fruit jar, am I right in thinking that's moonshine or, you know, white lightning or whatever they called it in those days?
Yeah, as you were saying before, Paul, you know, you weren't too sure what does that mean, but of course you would. You would make your liquor and you put it into whatever container you had, and then you have it. Yeah, so it's got lots of those references in it.
Yeah. This next artist was really special for me because I've been wearing glasses since I was a teenager. And, you know, you used to get very derogatory terms thrown at you about four eyes and spacky and all that type of stuff. This guy, born in Lubbock, Texas, and he was doing something really special. He formed a band called The Crickets. So tell us a wee bit about, first of all, this great song called That'll Be the Day, and of course the artist, Buddy Holly.
Well, Buddy Holly, as you say, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, who actually got their name because they were recording one day and they heard this noise, and because out in the field there was these crickets and they were chirping away, and of course history was made. And of course that's reference then to the Beatles, because they took their name from a change in that too. Yeah. But yes, Buddy Holly, what seminal in rock and roll writing. Without him, there's no Beatles. You know, it's just Paul McCartney especially learnt by listening to Buddy Holly. They loved all those songs. Very simple, but a lot in them too, you know. Simple chords that anybody can play, but you know, you try writing a song like that. But yes, That'll Be the Day. Wonderful title, and of course comes from the great movie John Ford's The Searchers, where the great man himself, the Duke, says it, and I'm not going to attempt what he says, but a couple of times when he's been, you know, put to the test, he says, that'll be the day, you know, that meaning that, you know, that'll be the day you'll be able to beat me. And that's just, so that song sort of wrote itself, you can imagine.
Yeah. And he had a very sort of affected hiccup style of singing.
Yeah.
That was actually picked up on by some of the British artists. I mean, obviously, you know, Adam Faith, when he was doing, you know, his cover version, was doing that hiccup singing style, and it was very original and almost very unusual.
Very original. I mean, his use of chords, again, use of phrases, just things that, you know, again, commonplace things which were probably not used as much before, but the great sound, and a very simple, sometimes not even using a drum kit, sometimes an old wooden box, you know. And he was brilliant at recording as well, and again, he left such a body of work.
Yeah, just about to say, because he went to New York and he was doing, you know, Raining in My Heart string arrangements and, you know, some incredible songs. And who knows what he'd been writing today if he had been with us. So God rest him. That's
the thing I was thinking, you know, when an artist goes so early like that, you think, what would he have done? He would have been, you know, he'd been hanging out with the Beatles. He would have been doing all sorts of stuff. It's endless what he could have done with his music.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Bernard. Stay with us for next time when we visit 3 more artists and 3 more great songs. Last but not least is Buddy Holly. One of his best and one of my favourites. This is OTH playing us out to That'll Be the Day.
Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yes, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die. Well, you give me all your loving and your turtle dove, all your hugs and kisses and your money too. Well, you know you love me, baby. You tell me that some baby, that someday, well, I'll be through. Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Yes, that'll be the day when you make me cry. You say you're gonna leave. You know it's a lie, 'cause that'll be the day when I die.
Here, where did that catchphrase come from?
Where did that catchphrase come from?
Where did that catchphrase come from?
We don't know.
Any luck this time with our catchphrase? Let's hear that one in character.
You stupid boy.
This was Arthur Lowe as Captain Mannering from one of our best loved sitcoms, Dad's Army. Written by Jimmy Perry and David Croft, it ran from 1968 to 1977 and spawned a range of catchphrases all in its own right. Thanks as always for staying with us. We'll have more great music and chat next time. Good night, and may your God go with you. Featured musicians were Liz Kelly, Chip Bailey, Bernard Jackson, and myself. This program was brought to you by CLARE CIC in partnership with Oh Yeah Music Centre and OTH Music Collective, supported by Community Foundation NI. Thanks to Bernard Jackson. Recorded at Oh Yeah Music Centre, Lomond Studio, and The Head Studio. Recorded by Johnny Woods and John Muirhead. Produced and mixed by Johnny Woods. Mastered by Moosetronics. Health materials with thanks from AGNI. Music guidance written by Mr. Chip Bailey. This was an OTH Music Collective production 2021.
Excellent. Well done. Well done.